Good morning. Happy Monday. I wanted to get on here and kind of touch base about some things. So I'll let people hop on. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Looks like the rain has returned. And so hopefully you guys aren't stuck out in it. So if you guys can see me, please let me know. You know the routine. And so there's a couple things I want to touch base upon today. And a lot of it is just we got some downtime. So what are we doing to improve our position, right? And so we're watching. I'm starting like I think what's really really important to think about right now is we got to know who our reps are, who our senators are. We should probably be thinking about starting conversations with them. Hey, Michael, thanks for tuning in. If you guys can see me, please let me know. And so what I think we should be doing is we should be starting these conversations, right? So these our senators, our representatives, they know who we are, and they can kind of put a face or a voice or a tone to our correspondence, right? So we start building these bridges. We have a short session this upcoming session, so I think it's they're going to try to do everything they can to implement Measure 114, and so what we have to do is make sure that we are going to be rallied up to go. And as soon as the legislature starts, that's where they're going to start making moves. I just got an email from my senator Floyd Prozansky. Yuck. So I saw some of the stuff that he's thinking about pushing in the next short session. There was nothing about guns, but I know he's not going to publicize that yet. He's going to wait until the day of or when everything starts, and that's when he's going to start to push his insanity again. And so what they're doing is they're probably recrafting Measure 114 in a different form, and so we have to be aware of that, because what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to cut out the judicial part of this review process, and they're going to try to get this thing implemented through the legislature. So we have to be on the ball. Okay. So right now, what we should be doing is just, getting ready. I'm going to start putting together contact information for all the reps, all the senators. We will have a pinned link here in the group. And so that way we can kind of know who's in our district. We should also be thinking about, is there ones that we're going to try to get gone, or how are we going to stop the people that are up for reelection? So there's a lot of things that we should be kind of focusing on. And so I wanted to kind of touch base this so we have a check-in, see how everybody's doing. Still no word from Harney County, so nothing has changed there. We still have that TRO in place, which is really, really great. But we need to make some progress on some of the things that we're working on. And so I appreciate you guys tuning in. And so I hope you guys had a good weekend. And these are some of the things that I'm focusing on. So what I'm focusing on is spending a little bit of time to just make connections up there in Salem. Send your reps an email, say, hey, I hope everything's going well. You might not get a response, but at least start having these conversations. Okay. And just say greetings or hello or something, and I know it's not the most fun thing to do, but we want to build connections up there, because when we can build connections, then we can have these doors open for when we need them. And so when we need them is when we have something that's really going to be volatile against us. We want to be able to have access to our reps and our senators. Okay. So we should also be focusing on the ones that are good reps and good senators, and showing support for them and doing it in a positive way, making sure that they know that, we're in their corner as long as they're in our corner. And so that's where something I wanted to talk about, is obviously, there should be a give and take in this situation. And so we don't give the house here, is we reserve our ability to affect change by making sure the people that need our help and want our help are in our corner. Okay. So that doesn't mean they come back with 6 days left in the session. That's what I'm kind of hinting at. Okay. Is we need these people obviously to be accountable for their actions, but they also have to listen to their constituents. They also have to understand their role in stopping bad legislation. That's really, really important. And so part of all of that starts with having these conversations. I know it's not fun. And the last thing we want to do is send an email to talk about the weather or whatnot. But maybe you have something in your district, that you can maybe ask a question to your representative or your senator. Maybe you could just start a conversation that way. Like, hey, so have you heard about this that's happening in your district? Yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? So maybe you bring up conversation that way. I guess what I'm trying to get at here is finding out a way where we can open up these doors, so we keep those doors open, so when we need to go through them, we can. Okay. That's kind of where I'm at. There's probably a short session. I got to look at the schedule and when we're going to be live up there. And we got to figure out, how we can get people there if we need to, if things go south for us, with the legislature. And so these are all things that we just want to be aware of. We did a really, really good job last year and last session is you guys did the work. Okay. You guys did a tremendous job of when we needed emails, when we needed testimony, you guys sent emails, you guys submitted testimony. You guys did tremendous last year. So we want to build upon that. Okay. So what I'm working on is working on a way to have AI to kind of help us with this situation where we can, if we need to send mass emails, we can send mass emails. And I'm working on a way to, assign numbers so we know where to go. So we have this is our number in the group, right? And this is going to correspond with this email that's already going to be ready for you to go. So you're just going to scroll to that number that's yours. It's already been assigned to you, right? You copy and paste that corresponding number email, put it in the body of an email. You send it directly to your representative. I want to make this as easy as I can for you guys. I want to use technology to automate this process. We can do it. And if we can do it, we're going to change the game here in Oregon. And so that's kind of where I'm getting at is all the infrastructure work that I'm kind of working on right now to be able to make this stuff possible. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort. I'm trying to keep my costs down because I'm self-funding all of this stuff. But it's really, really important if we can just tap into this technology and use it to our advantage and show you guys how we do this. Literally, it's going to be amazing. Okay. And that's what we're going to have to do. That's what we're going to have to do. And so, and we just got to make the technology work for us. And so, that's kind of where I'm at, and then what I'll do is once I kind of get things where my vision is, I'll do some tests and we'll put some tests in the group so we can kind of see if the system is working. And then, when it's time, we'll be able to hit, I'll hit populate. You guys will be able to copy and paste your number into your own personal email. You'll be able to send it. That's going to save you so much time. You'll be able to just click, copy and paste, put it in the email, and then copy and paste the body of the email, put everything in there, put a little title in there, and literally in minutes you could have, instead of just individually typing all of the stuff, I want to make it so easy for everybody. And so that's kind of where I'm at. So I hope this makes sense. Once I get everything kind of closer to kind of testing it, we'll do some dry runs on there and to see, if this is something that's going to be, either problematic or something that's going to benefit the work that we're doing here in Oregon. And so if this makes sense, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, comment something. You guys are kind of quiet today unless my comments aren't working. But I think it's just something that if we can automate this process and we can weaponize this process against them, we're going to get into a spot where we're going to have an even playing field with, Everytown Moms Abound Action. They have a really, very powerful email blasts. And so obviously we don't have the budget for that because I'm kind of self-funding this stuff. But I'm learning tips and tricks from other people around the country that if we can make it turnkey, make it easy, it's going to change the game. And so that's what I'm hoping that we're going to do. And we just got to be, thanks Lance for your support. It's just something we got to get better. And everything that I'm trying to do in my personal life here is just, what am I doing to better my position, right? And the mantra has always been fighting forward, right? We're always going to fight forward. We're going to fight smart. We're going to fight effectively. And that's how we're going to make this change. And so that's where I'm trying to get at is if we can use technology in a way that they're not used to, but they're using technology in a different form, maybe we can even this playing form. Maybe we can blow them out of the water too. So, I have a vision. If I can get 10,000 numbers assigned to everybody in this group, right? And I have a corresponding 10,000 emails with those numbers. If you guys can trust in me, if you guys can follow what I'm trying with the vision, if you guys can follow along and you guys can execute. And when we send, let's say, there's a bad bill with testimony, we have a short window to submit testimony. If we submit, 10,000 different testimonies into the system, and they're like, holy crap, like, where did this come from? Okay. And so that's where I'm talking about using technology to our advantage. We could totally do it. It's totally something that will, wake people up. Last year we had, there was a couple bills. I think it was 2572. There was also 2005. We had 1,300 valid handwritten testimonies, right? When I say handwritten, you guys entered everything on your computer, you submitted. That was amazing. Okay. So that was a great step in the right direction. So you guys did a lot of work, and you guys were engaged. You guys felt like you had hope. And I feel at the end of the day, we didn't necessarily lose, right? 2005 hasn't gone into effect yet. It hasn't been implemented. We're hearing inklings about a possible lawsuit. I'm not going to comment too much on that. But 18 to 20-year-olds, that got struck out of there. The preemption part of it got struck out of there. So basically, the only thing that stuck was the home built guns, right? Which, because of the DC versus Heller, this is a non-issue. This is something that we should be challenging in court. We just got to have standing for that to do. That thing should be struck down like all the other bad bills. Okay, so it sucks. I'm not saying that this is a complete loss because of what we were up against. We had, 4 or 5 really, really bad bills, and that's all they got was that one, which is something that we could easily reverse if we had good legislation. We're introducing good legislation. So I'm going to celebrate that as much as I don't want to celebrate, a loss. It could have been a lot worse. Okay. And they tried to make it a lot worse, and we held our ground. We showed up. We were on the floor. We were there in the hearings. We had shirts on, or we showed up. You know what I mean? So these are things that we got to sit back and say, hey, we did something, right? We didn't go kicking and screaming and allow them to take away our rights. We were part of the process. It just, hey, Brian, you were there. Speak of the devil, right? So Brian Mumford was there. He took the selfie, the most infamous selfie of us as we were holding that line, and we were preventing Moms Demand Action from getting their cherished photo op. And so shout out to Brian for being there. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it bigger. We're going to do it better, and we're going to be more effective this year because we learned something last year. So I hope everything's going well with you, Brian. And thanks for tuning in. But that's kind of where I'm at, is we are going to win, right? So let's go. So so that's kind of where I'm at, is letting technology work for us. And once it's time, and once I have everything in place, and we're gonna make a change. Okay. And so I'm going to figure out how we do it. And so I'm working on the tech, and so once I have everything ready, we'll be able to go, and it's going to be easy. It's going to be, everything's going to be there for you. You find your number, you scroll down to your number. There's your number. You copy and paste it, put it in the body of an email, and then you put, your contact. And I'm going to make it so everybody can just copy and paste. It's going to be so easy. If you don't know how to copy and paste, we're going to do some guerrilla, grassroots, activist type education opportunities as we get closer. Okay. So if you guys want to know where we're going to be going, this is kind of where I'm thinking. And I see other guys that are doing it from all over the country. And so it's just time that we've done it, and we do it. And, because realistically, we're ground zero. We're ground zero for this bad stuff. And the fact that we still have a TRO in place, nothing has changed. Okay. The status quo is the law of the land. That says something. Okay. And so we should, obviously it's been a very traumatic, past year, but, we're still whole, and that's where we have to come together. We have to unite. We have to understand we're all going to have differences. There's going to be difference of opinion, but we all have to, put that all aside and to be able to work together, towards this common goal. And that common goal is getting through this short session, making sure nothing else gets into effect. Okay. It's going to take time. It's going to take some resources. It's going to take some interaction. It's going to take some engagement from you. But I feel that if we do it, we can win. And so that's what I'm hoping. So any questions, any thoughts, any comments, any concerns, anything you guys want to talk about? I kind of said my piece here. I'm really excited. My internet is holding. That was kind of part of this thing too. I was doing a trial run on my internet. I have a new internet provider, and last week it was cutting out on me. So it actually held, which is really, really great. So I'm glad you guys were able to see. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. Is there's stuff that we can do now to prepare for the short session, and it's going to be so much easier on us when it's time, and so I appreciate you guys always tuning in, you guys trusting me, being a part of this with me, because I feel that if we come together and we do some stuff that, it's not conventional, it's not something that they're going to expect. And that's where if we can do it differently, we're going to win, and so, I mean, and the way I'm looking at it, right? We started at zero, right? We started with not a lot, and we just continued to work. We had these checkpoints. We made sure that we're part of this, every part of the process, and that's how we grew kind of the infrastructure. And now, we got through that year. I'm going to celebrate only 2005 compared to all the stuff they try to jam through. Okay. With a long session. Okay. So it seemed like an eternity. It seemed like it was 5 months. Okay. So the fact that we only got that is really, really a great thing. And I'm not seeing all my comments here. So I'm going to highlight this right here. Absolutely. I appreciate, I can't see who commented on this because for some reason, give me 1 second. It's not updating yet. So, but yeah, whatever we can do, what I want to do, because I know people are busy. I know people can't always, drop everything at a moment's notice, to get to Salem, right? If we have a hearing or a meeting or anything like that, or a rally, we should figure out how we rally a little bit more effective. So I know people can't always, oh, hey, Brian. Yeah. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever we can do, because we're all busy, right? So if we could automate this process and make it where it's like click, 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 copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And if we can do that and then flood these inboxes, it's gonna take so much pressure off of us having to be inside the building. So thank you, Brian. That's a great thing. Yeah. I will, because you're pretty tech savvy with the stuff that you do, right? So, I think a lot of us, if we can just share our platforms, and once we get things and just let people know, one thing that we, gun stores, FFLs, instructors, and I'm guilty of this as well, is we have a platform. And I don't know how you're doing it, Brian. But we have a captive audience. When we have that captive audience, is we have to say, hey, this is what's happening to you right now. You might not be paying attention to this stuff. We're more in the trenches, so we see what's happening. We gotta be educating better. And so that means the gun stores, we should have QR codes. We should have all these things to legislation. Maybe I can make flyers where people can just print out the PDF. They could put it on their counter. And this is the list of active legislation, right? These are the things you have to be aware of. We can make a little flyer. I can do that, no problem. But the whole point is we have people that are in our classes or in our gun stores or in passing our neighbors, and we can share our own personal social media. If we can put out stuff like this, it's going to be so much easier to educate the public about what's truly happening. And I think from what we learned with Measure 114 is the way they use the confusion aspect of it to push this, and people were unaware that we have background checks already in Oregon. And so they were confused. And so it's like the way they worded it was totally misleading, and they should be held accountable for that, right? I think it's really, really important is we investigate and we make sure that we're very, very vocal when it comes to what this stuff looks like in our own circles. And so, that's kind of what I'm talking about. So we're talking about the 411. I'm talking about the infrastructure that I'm hoping to have created in the next, couple of weeks. So when it's time, we'll be able to make sure that, we can, push back on this stuff and to stop this stuff. So, that's kind of where I'm at, and so, we just have to make sure that we're all in this together. Right. And we're only as strong as the weakest link here. And so, if we're all on the same page, we're all motivated, we're all active. One thing we have to think about is apathy and complacency. Apathy and complacency has put us in this position that we are today. And so, I hope we all learn from Measure 114 and that fiasco, where we can no longer be apathetic. We can no longer think that it's Brian's job to fight for my rights or my job to fight for your rights. We have to understand that it's all of our rights to put, or all of our responsibility to put something into this system to make sure that we can stop what's happening. And so that's the only thing that I'm trying to do here is make it so everybody feels that their voice matters. Everybody feels that they are empowered to be a part of this process and make the civics process work for everyday average Americans and Oregonians. That's all I'm trying to do here. And I feel that we can do it. Okay. We use technology to our advantage the way we need it to. I feel that we can do it. And I have high hopes from what I saw last year and last session. Okay. And I feel that, obviously we're not out of the woods, but we have to make sure that we want to be a part of this, and so, that's kind of where I'm at. And I hope all of this stuff makes sense. I hope this helps you guys feel comfortable just kind of waiting, because we're still waiting to hear about what happens with Measure 114. So I know we're wondering what's happening. And so, at this point, we're just waiting. And so what do we need, Brian, is probably, we should probably have a different meeting, and we should probably get together and figure out, maybe I'll do a post like volunteers, right? So who wants to get involved? What are our skill sets? What strengths do we have? What are resources do we already have in our personal lives that we're using? And, what are some of our strengths? So maybe we put together like an informational volunteer where we come together, right? And we work towards putting this all together, right? And there's been a lot of talk. We still have the PAC. The PAC is there. And yeah, for sure. Part of what I'm doing here and is this stuff is thoughts that I think about that are in my heart. I bring it to you guys. Is this something you guys can get behind? Is this something that resonates? Is this something that motivates? That's what I try to do. And so obviously I woke up today. This was I had a meeting at 10. It canceled on me. And so, which freed up my time. I had my setup already ready to go. So I'm like, okay, this is on my heart today. Let's talk about this. And right then I got an email from Floyd Prozansky right as I was getting ready to do this video. So I took time to kind of scroll through his BS email to see what he was going to push so I could come to you and speak with you. And so it's all about how do we get people involved? I could do better. I've done a horrible job. I've done a horrible job kind of getting my information out to the public in the small nucleus. Like we're talking about the pack. I got to do better at that, but it's like I'm moving so fast. It's really hard to get somebody up to speed. And so I got to do better. It's my fault. And part of this is I got to be human. I got to be humble. I got to say that, hey, this is what I'm lacking. Can anybody step in to help me fill this gap? And that's what this is. And we're trying to do it like now, right? So we have this thing ready to go. And so that's where I'm. No, I totally get it. Yeah, I do these. Some of them are long, but the meaning of these videos is to be like a podcast, right? Where you like if you're in a machine or something, you could put on this video and you can just put your phone in your pocket. You can sit there, you can do what you need to do. You can listen to what I have to say. And if this stuff resonates with you and this makes sense and this helps you throughout your day, then we can always circle back to this stuff and figure out how you get involved. And so the whole stuff that I try to do this is all educational stuff. This is stuff that if we have done better and been more effective in years past, we probably would have been a better shape than we are now. And that's just being real. So, that's where I'm going to start scheduling my listen and learn starting probably next week. Okay. So I'm going to talk to my partners from around the country. I'm going to start bringing people in. And so I'm excited about that. So we'll be doing like hour-long listen and learn with my guys. And so that's where I want to make sure that, we see what others are doing and we can learn and we can just take bigger bits and pieces and figure out how we, implement them here. Right. And so, there's some dudes that are doing some cool stuff, some pretty radical stuff, when it comes to, being aggressive, and I'm not saying that we need to do that here. I don't feel that we have to be aggressive. I feel that if we're just calculated and we're smart about it and we do things the way differently than have been done in the past, that's where we're going to make progress. And in the last long session with all the representatives and the senators that I had meetings with, they were really thankful for the way we handled ourselves as gun owners. And so, there's a lot of trust that we built last year. And so, we have to make sure that we show up and we do the same thing this year. Right. Because that's going to help us because the other side is rabid. Okay. So we have to understand, 20 ladies, that would be right there. That would be amazing. I'm not seeing who this is. And I hope this is Candy. But yes, we need to make sure that we get women involved. We need to make sure people of color involved. We have to give everybody a voice. Younger generation, Kyle Meter, I'm going to call him out. We need people of his age, right? His stature, his demeanor. We need him involved with this, right? This is something that to unite what we need to do here in Oregon, it's got to be from the top to the bottom. So we could have people that are in their 60s. It's going to cross all generations, right? And all political spectrums. Our one uniting factor is our 2A. Let's go. That's where we need to go. And so we are definitely late to the game. Yeah. Yeah. So this is probably Candy. Hi, Candy. I hope you're doing good. And so, that's kind of where I'm at is you have a good infrastructure, Candy. So we need to be better at utilizing that, for this stuff. And so, one thing, Candy, is I can send you this stuff. Is this video will be saved on YouTube, so I can get you the YouTube link so you guys can share that. And so, if this kind of resonates with your crowd, and it's something that they can get behind, then it's going to be a lot easier for us to kind of bring everybody together. And so that's kind of where I'm at. So, good luck with your hunt. It's that time of year. It's raining right now, which is great for people that are out in the woods. And so, that's kind of the thing, it's so how do you feel? I hope everybody feels good. I hope it's Monday, dominate your week, make sure you make lots of money, take care of everything. And Just be prepared, right? So keep your head on a swivel, make sure that we're not out of the woods when it came to, the global day of jihad, so just be aware of that, just be aware of your surroundings. Don't put yourself in a tight spot, but be safe. And, let's get ready to rally, and we're going to have to come together, and we're going to have to do some things. 100% right here. Best comment of the day. This is a generational issue. 100%. Okay. One thing to think about with this situation is we have to change our mindset when it comes to how we elect these elected officials. Okay. They're politicians, they're public servants, they work for us, they can be hired, they can be fired. Okay. We have to change the way we think about things. Okay. 180,000 of us sat home in November because they didn't get their perfect candidate. Okay. They didn't get the candidate they want. Okay. So one thing we have to do here is there's no such thing as a perfect candidate. There's only a candidate that can win. Okay. It's really, really important. Okay. And so we have to understand there's going to be so many different candidates. None of them are going to be that one that has all these qualities, but we have to have one that can win. Okay. There's going to be one that's going to be able to win. And that's where we have to put our support. Okay. I know it's not something that some of us want to hear. I totally understand, but that's why we continue to lose. Okay. And I'm going to be very, very frank about it. Okay. We lose because we don't show up. We lose because that person is not our person. Okay. That's why we lose. And that's why we're in this position. Okay. So we have to change that mindset. Okay. Really, really important. So that's kind of my thing. Yeah, I've seen a little bit. This is probably Kyle. For some reason, your comments are not showing up on Facebook. Let me refresh and see if that helps anything. This is probably Kyle. One thing about the libertarians. Oh, it is Kyle. Hey, Kyle. Thank you. I was just talking about you. I don't know if you saw that or not. I said good things. Libertarian. I like some of their principles. I used to align that way till I started kind of thinking about everything that's going into this thought process when it comes to electing candidates here in Oregon. And so I kind of like changed my stance on this stuff. We're talking about, we just need everybody to work together. Sometimes, and this is a generalized statement, is sometimes is the libertarians don't necessarily work well with others. Okay. And then it's my way or the highway. And then we have, really staunch conservative, that's my way or the highway. And so we got to figure out how we can kind of change that thought process and say, hey, for the greater good, okay, we have to figure out how we can all put away these petty things to where we can all work together. And that's where we grow this pie. This is where we become a more effective fighting force. And when I say fighting force, I mean people that can vote, people that can show up, people that can help identify good candidates, how they can get people involved and make sure that they can win. And so, that's the thing, so, we have to do better, and we have to understand that it's a very complex, situation. But at the end of the day, we can still win if we can just figure out how best we can deal with this situation, so that's kind of where I'm at. I hope this all makes sense to you. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm speaking out loud. Sometimes I do that just because I have a thought. This is kind of what I'm working on. Can I put it out to you guys? Does this message work with you guys? Is this something you guys can support, or I'm crazy? Because if not, then I can tweak my thoughts. Okay. I can figure out, okay, well, this is not a direction that we really should be going. And so you guys really help me with this stuff. When I'm developing messaging, you guys really, really help. So that's the whole point. You're like a sounding board, which is great. And I really appreciate that. So, and I hope I help. That's all I'm trying to do is help. So other than that, I think I'm going to wrap this up so I can run around. I got some stuff to do today. How do we feel? Do we feel good? I feel good. I feel that the things are coming together. Obviously, we're still waiting. Haven't heard anything from the attorney, Anthony. So that's a good thing when it comes to any kind of decisions, nothing from the court. So nothing has changed there. So let's be patient. Let's just focus on other stuff that we can control. And, some of the stuff that we control is the next session, how we get involved, what works, what doesn't work, stuff like that. So, that's kind of something that I've been thinking about. So, other than that, if you guys don't have anything, please. And if you guys are watching this as a podcast or a vlog or anything like that, if you guys have any questions or comments, or if something, doesn't work with what I'm trying to do, and you guys have like kind of advice on what we can do because your personal experience, bring it up. That way I'm not spending a lot of my time, because I got other stuff that I have to do. This is my busy time of year because I'm writing proposals and, end of year stuff and grant writing and all sorts of different stuff. So this is something that, I got a lot going on, but I want to be really strategic with my time. And so if this stuff, is something that works for you guys, especially using the AI, I think if I could get the AI on board, we could totally they wouldn't know what hit them, so, and what we'll do is we'll teach you guys what we're going to do to hit these inboxes to make sure that everything hits the inboxes the way we need it to. And maybe we'll bring on some senators or representatives and say, maybe we'll help them or have them help us, send meaningful emails in the body of the email. So we make sure that we get a really good conversion rate when it comes to these emails, right? And because the conversion rate is, we want them to read it, we want them to respond to it. That's what we're looking for, because that's when we know, we're getting through the system instead of just being deleted or going to a spam box or a spam folder. So, that's where I want to do is I want to make sure that we are connecting the way we need to connect. And so, think about maybe singing or sending a good morning message to your senator or representative, so just something to think about there, and if you can, it's going to show some goodwill. Maybe we can use that to our advantage. And that's how we're going to hopefully help stop some of this stuff. They have to put a face and a name to the people that either call them or send them an email, so something to think about. So, and there's good tactics. We'll figure that everything. We'll train everything, so we'll make sure that it's easy to do, that way when it's time to go, we're going to be effective. So other than that, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to get back to my work. You guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Monday. If you guys have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.